Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve.
Hello, viewers around the world. You are welcome to a very special edition of SSM Fridays World Affairs. My name is Matt Godwin Iweajuwan, and I'm here in the studio as usual with my colleagues and friends. Far away Lagos, Nigeria is Ogbeni Olayinkaraji.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Mark.
Good
morning. I'm glad to be here on this program today.
I'm glad to see you today. A day when the UK election is over, and we're seeing a ton of events. We're seeing something real, very, very. It's actually surprising too, because we thought Labour would have just held on. We thought Labour would have done its thing. So how are you, Raji? How are you following up the situation? How are you following up end of the road for Rishi Sunak? Rishi Sunak will be flying back to London. He has now lost in this election. Raji, let's talk. Let's have that one-on-one conversation on this. So how do you see all of this?
I think it should be a welcome relief for the British, for the Englishman, that at least they now seem to have their country back. I congratulate Labour, and I congratulate the Conservatives for conceding defeat without much acrimony.
Are you serious? So yes. You think in the Indian Rishi Sunak? I mean, you use the word the English people have come to take their land back, but we are all one. Rishi Sunak, whoever it may be, are all British. They all carry the British citizenship. So, do you think it's about that, or do you think it's who can get the job done? Because yes, because Keir Starmer is we did some background check on Keir, and let's see. Anyway, let's see. Let me not preempt my views here. Yes, go ahead.
The head of the Labour camp really highly recommended. He's a knight. He's a Sir Starmer. He's not just one of the run-of-the-mill Labour guys raving and ranting on the work floor. He's seasoned, and I believe that he will give the British or the English a good government. I'm sure they'll be proud of him. And from the landslide victory, I'm sure that the people have lost faith in the Conservative Party, and they have seen how, especially through the COVID lockdown, how messed up the whole thing seemed to be. The whole party seemed to be. Giving money to themselves and essentially running the country as if it's a clique. I'm happy that the Labour is back.
Yes, viewers, you're tuned into SSM World Affairs Friday. This is a day after the election in the UK. Millions of people casted their ballots yesterday, Thursday, in UK's general election that determines who runs the country. And what we saw is that Rishi Sunak has considered he has considered that Sir Starmer has won, and he's also giving an apology to his party members. So what we'll be seeing later in the day are things like Sir Starmer will be following Rishi Sunak into the Buckingham Palace before returning to enter the famous back door. He has to go through the back door of number 10. And these are traditional things they do. At that point, he will be joined also with some MPs, and this is it. So election has been done. Sir Starmer is on course now to become UK Prime Minister. Some people predicted this, but we didn't know it to happen. So Labour has Labour actually won some places, but not all. Starmer becomes the new Prime Minister. In the House, Labour is still expected to have some seats, even though the Conservative have more seats. So this is what we're following, viewers. We're following the UK election, end of the road for Rishi Sunak,
So,
Labour Party, Rishi Sunak.
Just one comment. You have to know that Rishi never stood for elections. He just came in because the government that was elected failed, and since that year, so this is first time at
the first election since 2019. Yes. While we're talking UK election, let's bring in our diva BD Nana from Lagos, Nigeria. BD, how are you this morning? It's good to see you. Oh dear, BD, your audio needs to come on. Your audio. Okay, yes. So, Raji, we're saying while BD is fixing our audio, we were saying that yes, this is saying I think the last election was in 2019, and this now comes up. Yes, I think that was in December 2019 when they decided to pick the lady. What we see also is that across England, across Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Remember, the English region also includes Northern Ireland. This shows that there are more interest in seeing good governance coming. Because, okay, are you on, BD? Can you hear me? We still can't hear you. Anyway, we understand how those things work. But all you probably need to do is, oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay, yes, Raji, we're still talking. Yes. So yes, a summary of what happened is that Labour lost in that in a lot of places, and now there's a new MP, there's a new man, and we'll be seeing some events unfold, some traditional things they do to swear in, spring in the new MP, the new Prime Minister. So what would you say again, Raji? Let's compare this now with Nigeria. I wasn't in the UK yesterday, but I was following live events. I was following most of what was happening. And I saw real smooth, clean, quiet vote ballots. I mean, voting. We didn't see any. Somebody brought a picture of Rishi Sunak sharing a burger and some snacks, and they said, he's buying votes. No, that wasn't buying votes. That was Labour people just giving out snacks to people voting. So it's not, you can't say that is buying vote. I mean, everybody can afford a burger. Everybody can afford a burger. Everybody can afford a cup of water. So if somebody is offering that because you're voting, he feels refresh yourself, it has nothing to do with buying of votes. So I saw that statement, and I hope the person that wrote it understands that that has nothing to do. So
no, what will you say? I think it's just out of mischief.
Okay.
It's out of mischief, yes, okay. Because you cannot compare. You can't compare the British society with the Nigerian society. You'll be comparing. If you're comparing apples with agbalumo, and they are completely different.
Yes. Okay, BD, say something. Sorry, Raji.
We still can't hear you.
We still can't hear you, BD. Please, we need to hear you. There is so much you have to tell us today. Yes, Raji, continue. So
yes.
Now I'm comparing. Let's compare. Do you think also that Nigeria can come to this level? I mean, where you have votes just go as it should. nobody's pushing anybody, breaking anybody's head. People just come vote. There was also what you call the postal vote. That is British citizens that are in different parts of the world. They also sent in their vote, and it all went smooth, you know. So do you think this can happen? Do you think we can get to that level?
Let's start with just going to the polling unit to vote. We realize that, you see, during the 1993 elections, there was in fact, that was when we got to know that indeed Nigeria can be organized to do a simple election. There were no vote buying. There was no ballot box snatching. Nothing. It was orderly, and it was so orderly that even the military who started the process were shocked. They were looking for an excuse to cancel the election, and they eventually found a very lame one to cancel the election. But because the election was free and fair and open.
I remember that election. That was 1993. I voted. Yes, I was even part of a team of young people that campaigned for Moshood, SDP Moshood Abiola. And
so yes, that should answer your question, that Nigeria can indeed conduct a free and fair election without any acrimony. And even the last election, if you apply the indices that one applies to election, it was beyond 75% in compliance.
Beyond
75% compliance, yes.
Okay, viewers, if you're just coming in, I see some viewers coming in now. We are talking UK election, end of the road for Rishi Sunak, and a new beginning for Sir Keir Starmer. We see this change in the UK now. Millions of people casted their ballot yesterday in what you call UK general election, and this is coming I think since 2019. This is the first time they're having a general ballot like this, and that's what we're discussing, viewers. So Raji, another thing I want us to bring to the fore is the diaspora Nigerians, the ability for the diaspora Nigerians to vote. Like I said earlier, they had what you call postal voting. So friends, people I know that are British citizens voted from different parts of the world, and it went smooth. From Australia, from New Zealand, from Sweden, from Italy, all over the world, America. You know, so many English people in America, British people in America. So, but everybody voted, and that added to the number also of what they had. So, Raji, don't you think Nigeria should be looking towards diaspora voting? Because the figure they give, even though I know it's not very accurate, and it's a shame that the Interior Minister, the Foreign Affairs Minister, all of these ministry have not really gotten a true data of Nigerians in diaspora. But what they say is we're 22 million outside. But we know we are more than that. I think we are close to 40 million Nigerians outside. So now, with that number, don't you think they should be considering people also being part of governance? I mean, if we are also sending our money back home, supporting families, helping the economy, why not also give us that privilege to add to leadership? What do you think, Raji?
You see, the postal voting didn't come in just one instance. It was a development. It was a development that became necessary.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also believe that where they cannot do postal voting, some of them could go to their embassies where closest to them and cast their vote. All those processes have to be put in place. You can't just jump into it. Like we mentioned, we don't even have the correct data of our people outside the country. And because of the contribution, in fact, the economy of this country, or the survival of most people in this country, especially in the south, depends on diaspora remittances to them. Otherwise, there will be more weeping and gnashing of teeth across the country, especially in the south. Yes. So, as a matter of fact, I believe that the diasporans deserve to have a voice in the choice of or whoever rules this country, because if the president messes up the country, messes up the economy, it puts a heavy burden on the diasporans, so that they could support the people at home. So yes, it is necessary, but then the process has to be put in place. We have to have clear data. We have to have those who are able to. There have to be some data, yes, and then we have to define what is diaspora, because I don't think that if you are in Niger Republic, you will count yourself as being diaspora. Otherwise, you have a lot of Nigerians claiming to be Nigerians who will be voting in the Nigerian elections.
That's an interesting thing to say. But anyway, as long as you are outside of the Nigerian territory, I think you are considered. But the thing is, yes, they can sit down and map out indices, criteria, and for that, those are really qualified. Also, take note, some people might not be living in their country, the host country legally. Some people are probably,
exactly.
So it has to be spelled out. It has to be arranged well. But we need to vote. That's what matters. Diaspora Nigerians need to. They need
I agree with you.
Put their vote into.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So our viewers, you're just coming in. This is it. The English people have voted yesterday. The British people, it's their first chance of voting since 2019 to decide who leads them. House of Parliament, also Westminster, those that will be in the Westminster, and all of this. So this is what we're following now. Roger and I, we're talking election. We're putting comparison to elections in UK and in Nigeria. Raji, now let's come finally to this one before we go to other topics. One thing that we also observed in the UK election is that yes, there were campaigns, yes, there were all this, but we didn't see much of the Nigerian election. We see some campaigns are turned into abusive, and people use it to mock their candidates, and we see people taking it to the extreme, making fun and all that. But I mean, that does that bring professionalism into leadership? What will you say to such?
It seems to me that elections in Nigeria is more or less like a war. And because of the way we are structured, Nigeria is just a country. It becomes more divided along ethnic lines.
Okay.
And then haven't instituted this rotational thing. If it's a chance of the North, then we don't see why any Southerner would want to be there, or if it's things with the South. Why should I not now want to come in the South? Between the Southeast and the Southwest, there's always this rivalry. Eventually, everything gets very, very toxic, very, very personal, and it doesn't work out well. And I've mentioned before that we have made campaign period so toxic and so divisive, and that is why every campaign period is also made very, very short, so that the toxicity and the divisiveness will not extend into governance. Unfortunately, some of the pronouncements of those in power in APC now tend towards campaign verbiage, which is not fair. The moment you become president, you are now the president of the whole country. Yes, the whole country, and therefore your pronouncement should show your decency and your level of civility.
That's it. Yes. You said this so well, because we don't really understand that. Last time I was saying that I see this present government in Nigeria as being nepotic. There's nepotism, there's tribalism. I must say this. And this is because one section of the country didn't probably vote for him or didn't support him. So he has come on board now and he's just picking, Meanwhile, that will not bring efficiency. That will not bring competence, because you could be losing out at those that are smart, intelligent from the other region that could also be part of the government and could bring in their knowledge.
But I tend to disagree with you there. I don't think that any section of the country feels marginalized at this moment. I don't think so.
I see.
Because in all the ministerial appointments, I think it is spread across the country. You may not get into the finance institute. Okay. Now in the finance institute, because it's very, very important for us to get our finances correct, we get our economic policies correct. I want to believe that Tinubu is dealing with those people he can trust, who has worked with him and whom he can trust to push his economic policies forward. And I don't think there have been so much nepotism. Maybe sectionalism, but not nepotism.
Okay. So, but anyway, before let's bring in BD. We know what technology can do. Can you hear us? Say something. Let's hear you. You need to unmute. You unmute from your end. You just do that. Nice.
Okay. Nice, now we can hear you.
Yes, because
you've been hiding your nice voice from us for so long.
Beautiful. I've lost the audio again.
No, you don't.
I've lost the audio again.
No, but we can hear you.
You can't hear us now.
I can't hear you.
But we can hear you.
But we can hear you. We can hear you. Oh dear. Okay. I think it's a glitch. But one thing that you can do is probably switch off all device completely, computer, everything, and
then switch on.
Yes, that could help. Oh dear. But we can hear you. You unmute.
It seems as if when she can hear us, we can hear her.
I can hear you now.
You can hear
then we can hear you too.
We can hear you.
It's all correct.
All right, BD. BD, it's good to have you. Even though we've said a lot on this, but you might just give us some of your own take. The English people, the British people have finally come to their concluding part of casting their vote, and a new government is on. So it's over for Rishi Sunak. The young man came, he did his thing, but this is the end of the road for him. Now we have the man called Saka Starmer. He's a Sir, and he'll be taking the mantle of leadership. And so this is it, BD. What's your take on this? How do you see the UK election?
Yeah, I saw it. To them, it went fine. But honestly, I thought they will even return Rushik. I thought they will return it. But the man has done well for himself. Forget him. He did well from when they brought him. When he came in, there was a lot of things going on with the UK, but he was able to stabilize some certain things. He has done well for himself. So he will always be there. That's I know.
He will always be there. He will be in the book of history. Okay, so we did some comparison. We did some how it is in Nigeria. How we could. I mean, yesterday I wasn't in London. I wasn't there, but I was following up online through all the cables, and I saw a very peaceful, in fact, hassle-free balloting, no anything. I mean, there was no noise. Everybody just went like, casually as if nothing was happening. And they were doing something very, very, very important. But they were doing it, mildly, cool. So we're saying, can Nigeria come to that level where election is like this? People can just go in the morning, cast their vote, come back, get the results. Can we get to that level, BD?
We certainly cannot get to that level. If we get to that level, they will not achieve what you saw yesterday. Did you get me? Nigerians, African cannot get to that level you saw in London yesterday. If they allow Nigerians to get to that level, they won't achieve what you're seeing, what you're admiring. They are using Nigerians or African as an scapegoat to have their own peace. And now to think that even most of the, let me not over-exaggerate it, about 65% of what happens in Nigerian election is as a result of Western world interference, is what they want. Because if they allow Nigerians to have their way, if they allow them to rule and lead themselves, they will no longer have power over us. Because let me tell you, we might not like to say it the way it is. Every problem, most problem we encounter in Nigeria is for the interests of the Western world. If it goes well for Nigeria, if it goes well for Africa, the Western world might not have it easy or better for themselves. So I don't envy them. Good for them. But it's so unfortunately that we Nigerians, the Africans, we are not learning. We refuse to learn, or we refuse to come to a term that these people are actually using us. Our bad is their good. And that is why they will not allow us to achieve it the way we wish or want to achieve it, or the way it will work for us. So I don't blame them. I blame ourselves.
BD has dropped some really strong utterances here. But before we go on, Raji, please hold tight. Godwin is, we know it's a busy day for people, weekday, but these legends take their time to be on the frame, the portal, the SSM portal. Godwin, how are you? You're welcome to World Affairs SSM Friday News Update.
Thank you for having me. I'm actually on the street.
Yes.
You are shopping.
But I hope it will be.
No, don't worry. You know what you do.
We'll make up for the.
No, don't worry. You know what you do. Stay in a spot.
Make up for the audio.
Yeah, stay in a spot. I think your audio is okay. We can hear you. But if you're in a spot, if you're moving, you might lose signal. Okay, so stay in the spot.
I'm good to go.
Yeah. So how did Russia see the UK election? We've been discussing the UK election yesterday. How is it from your corner, Godwin?
To tell you the truth, most Russians do not care and do not follow it because it's of no relevance to Russia or Russian. The ties between Britain and Russia at a low, at a record low. It can hardly get any worse than it currently is. So basically, any even interest may be misinterpreted as interference. So basically, most Russians are not interested and don't really follow, except those journalists who take out their time to post international news, which doesn't really get much traction here.
Okay. Anyway, it has happened yesterday. There was millions of English people, British people went and casted their vote, and there is now a change of governance. Rishi Sunak, end of the road for him, and Sir Starmer begins the new leadership. So thank you guys. It's good to have you all. Stay tight. Don't go. Let's go on a small break to refresh ourselves. BD, it's good to see you. So we'll be back.
Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve. where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
Yes, we're back. We're back, viewers. This is SSM News Echoes World Affairs, Friday, the 5th of July, 2024. So, yes, we just talked at length on the UK election, but more things are happening in different parts of the world. The Kenya story is still on the burner. Kenya is still smoking hot. Several people have been killed as the police keeps opening fire on protesters. Yes, Kenya is still on the burner. Now, the update we have this morning is that number one is the president has said that he's reducing pay rise. There'll be something he called there'll be freezing of MPs. Pay rise. He has said that, and he also said the proposed pay rise for cabinet members, parliament members will not happen again. This is coming as a result of the outcry by the public protests. He also said that that controversial finance bill on tax has been removed, and salary of some persons in some, I don't know those category of people, but there is a plan now that some category of people will not be receiving the supposed financial increase that was planned. Kenya, guys, Raja, let me start with you. What are you following on Kenya? Is still on the burner?
Yeah. See, so my take on the Kenyan situation is that yes, the people rose up and they were criticizing the governance and the way the government was going about it. But the demonstration eventually became like a mob action.
Okay.
I do not support their burning the presidential jet, burning some public places, destroying stores and looting stores. What has that got to do with the protests against government? It is very, very unfair to do.
It is them, the citizen, that will suffer those things.
We suffer it. Yes.
They will complain and say,
yes.
These things.
If I would have supported them full force, if they had not been gone on rampage destroying public property. But luckily for them, the government is listening to them and is responding to their protests. But it would have been much easier for government not to have had to face the destruction that caused by the mob, because there's no way when their cry went beyond protesting against the tax to Ruto must go. They were now fishing in very, very dangerous waters, because there's no way that a mob could take over a government, because they don't have the leadership, they don't have the structure to take over government. They all, just like what happened with the storming of the Bastille in France in those days.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the mob took over the palace, they found themselves completely out of their depth. So it was easy for Napoleon to come in and fill in the leadership gap that became very, very obvious. And yet, after that takeover, the situation remained the same. So that's why the French will tell you that the more things change, the more they remain the same, because the process of change became a mob action, and therefore there will be no improvement in their status because of the process of that change. If the process had been negotiated change, there would have been serious changes in the structure. What the government is doing now is just to concede to a few of their. When the government now reinstates itself, they will come to the same situation. They may not bring out the tax bill, but they will bring out something else that will tax the people for the destruction that they have wreaked upon the country.
BD,
You
Raji
see,
has spoken. Yes.
yeah, Raji was right. People will still suffer it. But there's something I want us to always look at. You know, most time when things happen, I'm not part of those people who look at what is happening. I actually look at how did we get to this? What brought about this? What we should understand is that this Kenya finance bill was not just the problem in Kenya. The Kenyan people have been shouting, crying, more especially the fraternization with their presidents and the Western world, US in particular. Now, they started with this protest with finance bill, which the president said he's not going to sign. Now, presently, it is really running hot in Nairobi. Now, what the youth are still saying, they say that the government should cut down their traveling bill and their hospital bill in Kenya. What is happening in Kenya is like what happens in Nigeria, where the leaders go abroad to treat themselves. They have headache, they have stomach upset, they rush out to UK, they rush out to US, they rush out to Switzerland, to Canada, you know, and go and treat. And you know what this does to their economy and how it boosts other people's economy. Now, their government travel a lot. So these are the things the youth are still demanding for. And Ruto has said that he's going to have a dialogue with the youth and they're going to do something about that. Now, the situation in Kenya doesn't need, postponement. Why don't he call for that dialogue? They get to dialogue, talk about that, because, people are saying, oh, why are they still protesting? Why are they still? If you want to do something, you must start as something. They actually started with that finance bill, and they want to use that avenue to take care of other things. And that is what I saw happening in Kenya. So if the president said he's going to dialogue with them and they are going to cut down on the travel for the leaders and the leaders going abroad to take treatment, they should do it and then get to the end of this. That's just my take.
Now yes. I have just one question.
Mm-hmm.
Who are those people who are the government is going to negotiate with? Because these people have turned themselves into a mob. There must be a leadership structure that the government will negotiate with.
Let me say,
let's hear from Russia. We'll come to BD. We'll come to you again. Godwin, I hope you're there. How are you seeing this Kenya situation? It's not cooling down. It's getting hotter and hotter every day. The Gen Z Kenyans are not backing down. There's a video making round on social media as at yesterday. You see the young man talking with so much dexterity, so much, that they are not stopping here. Yes. So, Godwin, how does Russia copy this? Godwin, can you hear us? Okay, I think we lost him again. Oh, dear. Yes. Okay, yes.
Can I speak? There's this mindset we have in Africa. We run the kind of government that we want to silence people. We want the loyalty of everybody. We are doing good, are we doing bad? We just don't want people to talk, don't complain. So it's that mindset that makes us, each time there's protest, we tend to label the protesters to be hoodlums, to be bad people. I know there are a lot of, some of them that have created the protests in Kenya. But still, those people who are pursuing for the good of Kenyans are still on the streets. So saying that, they are all hoodlums, they are all criminals, it's not fair. Yes, I know some people are using that opportunity to commit some crime, but the ones who are fighting for the good of Kenya are there. And those are the people who have been speaking with government. They are the people who are going to negotiate with government when the government is ready. Government should not be postponing this. If they're actually interested or ready to do what they're saying, they shouldn't be postponing it. They should call these people and sit and negotiate with them. And what does it take to say, no, if you're a leader in Kenya, you must treat yourself in Kenya. No more traveling. If presidents are going traveling, you don't need more than 5 or 10 people. What's there? If Ruto has done these things, I don't think they will still be calling for his resignation. It's because he still has a lot of baggages on his head. That is why they are asking him to resign. If he has done like say, oh, please, let's treat ourselves in the country. And you know what it means? Treating ourselves in the country is that they're going to strengthen the health sector. If you had done all those things, they would still be protesting.
Okay, let's hear from Godwin. Godwin, did you hear me earlier on, the question I asked?
Yes. Could you repeat it?
Okay.
Please, just for clarity.
Yes, I know. We're saying, how is Russia copying this Kenya situation? It doesn't look like it's cooling down, even when the president is aligning to some of their terms, but they still are pushing on more. The Gen Z, as they call themselves, are still pushing and asking for more. The president should resign. So how do Russia see this?
Here in Russia, we see it a little bit with a dose of skepticism, let me put it that way, because Kenya was just declared a U.S. non-NATO major ally, yes? And the next day you had the protest. Do you know that the coup d'etat of Yanukovych in Ukraine happened just a few days after Russia, Europe, and even that Russia, Europe, and Ukraine reached an agreement on the handing over of power of Yanukovych, and then the next day you had the Maidan protest, and then the Crimea, taking up Crimea, and then today we have the special military operation. So we always see that external interference in a country's politics does more harm than good. And in this case, it has, helped to cause the unrest. Even though I support the will of the people, to still take some time for peace to reign, to rebuild all that has been destroyed, because there's lots of destruction going on. The lives that have been lost, the breadwinners that have died, who will compensate them, who will take care of them, the children they left behind, the mothers who had just a single child who was protesting for their welfare and well-being. There's a lot of reconciliation, repair, reconstruction to do, and external interference is majorly to blame. And most of these powers, like I always say, the backbone of democracy is the military in the country. When the military is on your side, there's a lot of things you can do with democracy and the will of people. They have to get the buy-in of the military to say, yes, the military respects the will of people before it can be enforced, this will of the people. So when there's external influence enriching the military or the military structure, it may be difficult for them to admit that the will of the people have changed or have moved on. And when it's happening so late, it causes the great extent of destruction and protest that we're seeing today. So definitely it's very bad what we're seeing, and it's all fingers are pointing to external interference of the particular.
Thank you very much. Well said. Our viewers, if you're listening to us, we're here on our Friday World Affairs Update, and we're talking Kenya. And what we know is the president, Mr. Ruto, has abandoned plans to increase tax after protesters complained that they could not afford to pay. And they say they already hit by so many sharp increase in their cost of living. So many said the government also should reduce spending, which the president has also vowed he will do. Okay, let's move on, guys.
Please, I just want to ask a question. The Kenyan situation, governance and everything, compared to the Nigerian situation, which one is much worse?
Nigerian situation now.
So why are Nigerians so timid and so laid back about it? They are not protesting. They are not saying anything.
Because we have been divided along the tribal line, along the religious line. That is it.
We are suffering the same thing.
No, we are not the same thing.
We are all suffering the same.
We are suffering the same thing.
The Koro man, the Yoruba man is suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
Our mind is not conditioned the same. Our mind is not conditioned the same.
Exactly.
In Kenya, they speak the same language.
Exactly.
In Kenya, there's no division.
I think the problem is that Nigeria is yet a nation. We are just a country, a geographic expression. There's nothing that binds us together as a nation. Until we get that nationality question cleared, you find us fighting against each other to the benefit of those who are oppressing us.
Exactly, you're right. You're very,
right.
very correct.
Absolutely right. That's what we are saying. We are all saying the same thing.
Yes.
There are two ways.
Now,
There are two ways.
now,
Sorry, there are two ways it can go. The first one is to solve the nationality problem. And the second one is for the suffering to reach the point where it's so great that it overshadows those differences in tribalism and party politics and all of that. It's either one of those two things.
That tipping point can never happen, because the more Nigerians suffer, the more they dig into the wall. The more Nigerians suffer, the more we dig into the wall.
You see, even a mouse, once it's chased and cornered to the wall, will fight back. Even a mouse.
No,
you are talking about a mouse. No, you are talking about mice. You are not talking about Nigerians.
No, I don't understand what they have done to Nigerians. I made a broadcast yesterday, and I was showing people that Nigerians now make cucumber stew, watermelon stew, because they can't afford to buy tomatoes. Now we have getting to the level that we have accepted this poverty. There is no war in Nigeria. There is no natural disaster, and Nigerians are dying in hunger. They are dying real death, and they are still silent. Do you understand? Now we have pushed to the wall, and but instead of us to fight back, we are breaking the wall, going inside the wall. That's
digging into the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Yes.
And the tipping point that Godwin is talking about can never happen.
You're all saying something that needs to really be checked. But let's move on. More African news. Let's talk on Sierra Leone now. Sierra Leone yesterday banned child marriage. Child marriage has been banned in Sierra Leone. It says child marriage. A new law has been imposed that it's a 15-year prison term and $4,000 for offenders. No more child marriage in Sierra Leone. I think it's a practice there, and now they need to stop it. And when I had this news yesterday night, I said this is good, because most African countries do this, and it's not helping us. It's not helping. BD, you're a woman. Let me start with you. Sierra Leone says anybody that tries that trash again will get himself in jail or pay $4,000, because a lot of people are marrying little girls as old as 9, 10, 12, taking as wife. Can you imagine all this? So putting a ban on it is a good step. PD, what do you say?
I'm happy they are waking up. You know, you said most countries in Africa, Nigeria, Nigeria, we celebrate that. You know, it's really funny how most of us in Nigeria, we know it is very visible in the north, but even in the west, we still do it. Yes, we still do it. I'm telling you, even in the west, we still do it. Because when a child is not up to 17, it's still a child, up to 18, sorry. Because I don't understand the country who say that your maturity age is 18, but marriage age is consent age is 13. I think so, 13. Yeah.
That's what
I can tell you the list of rich men, politicians who marry children in their 14. I'm not talking about North, I'm talking about South now, who marry children between their 14, 15, 16, 17. Do you understand? We celebrate that in Nigeria. Now, coming out from Sierra Leone, it's very good, because Julius, the president, said they need to protect their children, because they are children. And that's why you have a lot of problem with VVTF, with women. A child that is not matured, a child that has not groomed, you are not giving her the load of bearing a child. Now, how can a child take care of a child? And that is one of the problems we have in our society. Who groomed this child? Who gave birth to this child? It's the kind of mothers and fathers we allow. Somebody who has not finished growing, and you're not giving her or him a responsibility to grow someone. Kudos to them. I wish, but you know one thing about Nigerians who don't learn good things is how they are taking money from their Nigerian will learn, say, oh, look at Sri Lanka. They are paying $100, they are paying $50. That's everything will learn fast. But this kind of We will not learn it.
Thank you very much. Speaking as a lady, Raji, yes, Sierra Leone says $4,000 for offenders. The law states that a girl should be above 18 to be married and not below. What's your take on this? I know.
You see, I don't think child marriage is an African thing. Even in the US, there are states where the age of consent is like 14, even in the US. But you see, I think it is both a traditional and religious thing, because among my people in the Southwest, it is strange. It is strange for you to marry a child to marry a girl who is not up to 18. It is strange. It is strange, and it is not acceptable. It may be acceptable in some tiny communities, but across the Southwest, among the Yorubas, it is not acceptable for you to marry a child. For you to marry a child. For some Muslims, they follow the practice of their prophet, who was said to have married a child of 9. But marrying a child and consummating that marriage are two different things. You see, because it's the consummation.
Okay, Godwin, are you there? Okay, let's move on to I think we lost Raji. Yes. Because of time, do you have anything to say on that, or do we move on to some other issue?
Yes,
because
I think it's a move in the right direction. I think that kids should be allowed to grow and develop. At the same time, feminism and ultra and extremists that cause the failure of marriages and single motherhood should also be looked at, because what we want in the tail end is that we want both children's rights to be respected. We also want the promotion of family values and the replacement rate of countries to be at the rate that is it doesn't cause extinction. So I think all these matters are kind of intertwined, but yes, I support it as a step in the right direction.
Good one. So before I leave you, there's a news of a United States man jailed in Russia yesterday, 12 years for drug charges. United States citizen, one Robert Woodland, young man, and they said he came in with lots of large quantity of methadone, and now he has been jailed. He said he was born in Russia, but he was adopted when he was 2 and left the country. You hear that story? It's right there on most.
Yes, I heard. Okay. In Rome, you dress like the Romans. In Rome, you dress like the Romans. If you violate the law, you face the
consequence. Good.
Simple.
Without any exceptions. So citizenship is not important or relevant.
Simple.
Or local
simple. Okay, let's move on to this one. Is just a news. We're hearing of violent attacks in France ahead of Sunday's election. There's still an election that will be held on Sunday, and they say youths are also on the streets fighting and scattering things. So let's put our satellite on that as maybe next time we come. Also,
Hezbollah. Sorry. May I make just a comment on that France situation?
Okay.
You see, France is essentially a third world country wearing a first world garb. So if there are demonstrations there, I'm not surprised.
Yes, you have so many black people in France. In fact, you go to some places in France and you think you're in
France is a third world country.
When I was
just putting on first world suit.
Yes. Okay. We're also hearing
in that extreme. I was in Paris. I loved it, but there are lots of issues that I also could be solved. But I love Paris while I was there.
Okay. Also, international news. Hezbollah launched 200 rocket attack at Israel's military base yesterday. They say it's a retaliation for a commander that was killed. Godwin, do you have any news update on that? Hezbollah, Lebanese Hezbollah group. Hezbollah, yes.
Sorry, I have to step out for a while.
Okay, it's okay. So anyway, that's what we're hearing. Yesterday there was strong attack. 200 rockets were fired at Israel's military base, and the Hezbollah people say it's a retaliation for their commander that was killed. So let's move on to finally. Let's move on to a story that is, even though it's not really part of Thursday's story, but I think we should talk about it. There's a young man, a Nigerian young man that worked in a restaurant. BD, I don't know if you have that story. He used to work in a restaurant called Palace, and but today he's not too far from me. He's in that same France we just talked about, and he's on the runway. He's a model. He's modeling and doing some great things for Nigeria. I mean, this is quite an interesting story. So that's the young man there. BD, do you have the story of him? Did you hear anything about him?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear anything about him. But say, what you are seeing now, it's not a new thing to us in Nigeria. He used to be a restaurant attendant in Nigeria, and today he's a model. His name, they say, is Bolaham. Bolaham is his name.
Yeah,
Bolaham is his name, yeah. And he actually started in Italy, Milan, and is appearing for luxury clothes now in Italy.
Yes.
So it's a normal thing with us. See, I used to tell people that Nigeria limits people. You see a lot of people who, when they are in Nigeria, even with their talents, even with their skills, they would die wretched. But that's why you see every Nigerian will do everything to leave the shores of this country, because they know that when they leave the shores of this country, their story will change. The only thing is that have something you're doing, have a skill. Don't be part of those people who just go in. You don't have a skill, you don't have talent, you don't have focus. Look at him. If this guy had remained in Nigeria, maybe probably he will end up as a truck pusher. But look at him today, he's modeling.
Yes, that's Bolahan, viewers. Bolahan used to work as a restaurant attendant in Palace restaurant.
So let me. I think all this talk of climate change. I think the climate of Nigeria should be looked into. I think there's something in our atmosphere that is killing us. And anybody,
you people need to know the story. Listen to this. He wasn't living here. He lives in Nigeria, but somebody cited him at that restaurant he works. Somebody saw his height, his build, and cited him and called him and said, "Listen, you have the physique of a model," and they took it from there. And behold, now he's on the runway. He left Italy not long ago. Now he's in France, and he'll probably be in a New York fashion show, you know.
The story is that a lady named Temi, that used to go to that restaurant to eat. The guy's height and his build actually got her attention.
Yes,
and she approached him and talked to him. I said, yes, that he's interested. And that's what you're saying today.
Yes,
I want to answer what Raji said. You see, it's not about the climate. It's about we, the people, our mindset, how we think, how we behave. Nigeria is a country where if I'm feeding, it's obvious if once the government is favoring me, I don't care, every other people will die. Is that mindset thing? You see somebody who is doing well, you won't want to help that person. You're only helping that person if you're benefiting from that person. Do you understand? That is how Nigerians, it is our mind. It's not about is the air or what. It's our mind. That is that environment change.
So why did you take him? Is it in the water then? Because something or in the food. So I want to speak to the new model that you have. You remember one breast seller who photobombed? Yes, and immediately she became something else.
That's it. That's another thing. You know, you see, you know why it's like that? Exactly what I said earlier. Jumoke, that was Jumoke, that's her name.
Jumoke, yes.
They
The
took her, it did everything. They said, and that's that mindset I said about Nigeria. You know, Nigerians, I don't know, we drink this loyalty, and what we call loyalty is actually using people.
Okay.
They start having problem with Jumoke because she couldn't do all the things they want her to do. We like squeezing people.
Wow, guys, thank you. Godwin, do you have any update, anything you want to let us know? You want the viewers to know from Russia? Before we pull the plug.
I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that while it's clear that there are some things are not well in Nigeria, but there are still some opportunities there. In the sense that he's successful now in Milan, because what he's actually delivering or offering is rare, and there isn't enough supply of such height and let's say handsomeness. In Nigeria, if you wanted the equivalent of that, you need to be a cross-dresser and
something like
going
that
to all Nollywood events. So there's actually an equivalent of that in Nigeria, just that it's upside down. There's always opportunity in every place. You just need to find the opportunity and try to make the most out of it. So it's all. I want to encourage those in Nigeria who may not have the opportunity to go out at this point in time. There's actually something there for you to do if you find out what it is. So do not give up even while we try to build Nigeria.
So I have a question for. I have a question for Doc. Did I read somewhere that the Ukrainians are ready now to talk to Russia?
Well, they have said that at some point there will
Many
be
times
there will be a peace agreement. Yeah, let me land. They have not. They have a ban on negotiation directly with Russia, but they have said. So they cannot say they want to talk to Russia because it's against their. But what they've said is that there should be some peace deal at some point, and that after this last counter-offensive, there will be some peace proposal, which they believe will be accepted internationally. They have not said that they want to talk to Russia directly, and they have not invited Russia to any peace summit.
Good.
Viktor Orban, by the way, was in Ukraine a few days ago, and his peace proposal was rejected.
Yeah, we had that too. Okay. Thank you, Godwin, taking your time from your very tight schedule to be here. BD, thank you for all you've contributed, all the ciphers you've brought in. Raji, thank you. So, viewers, this is it. We've done it. Newsweek, News Echoes, Friday, World Affairs. And we have given it to you. We hope to see you on Monday as we begin the week with the Between the Lines program. So until then, everybody have a beautiful weekend.
Have a nice weekend, man. Have a lovely one.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
And,
have a lovely weekend.
Peace. Peace.